It's a new year, which likely means an influx of new customers and fresh intent for your brand or product that you're offering. If you use email marketing, the number one thing that you should be doing right now is taking a look at your welcome flow to see where it can be optimized. For many brands, your welcome flow is the number one top performing flow in the entire email ecosystem. So if it's outdated, overly designed, or maybe if you're doing too much, you could be leaving revenue and brand trust on the table. The goal of this video is to really walk you through how to build or optimize your welcome flow to maximize both conversions and brand awareness in the new year. So before even starting to build or optimize the actual emails themselves, the first thing that you need to do is take a look at the welcome offer that you're providing to customers. The reality is that new customers need to jump through as few of hoops as possible to be able to actually convert and make that first purchase. Your offer should be compelling enough to motivate them to pull the trigger and actually make that initial purchase, but not the biggest discount that you're willing to offer as a brand, because things like that should be reserved for major sales or periods such as Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So really finding that sweet spot when it comes to the offer itself is what can help build that momentum and trust. You're not training your customer to wait for something bigger. You're being able to offer them something off the bat that's really going to help them convert and make that first purchase. So the traditional email welcome flow usually consists of 4 emails, and that framework definitely does still work. However, the presentation and the execution of those emails themselves are evolving as time goes on. What used to work might have been things like long brand stories, heavily designed emails, and overly polished messaging, but those things can now feel a bit dated. Think of that as the starting foundation. And then given the new trends and the way that the industry is moving, we're going to build onto that and show you how to optimize that for 2026 and beyond. So the first email in your welcome flow is really the first impression that new recipients are going to receive of your brand. There's a couple things that it should do well. Number one, obviously, clearly welcome them to the brand. This is the most important thing. They just signed up to receive your emails, so you want to welcome them and have them know what to expect moving forward. Number two, you want to make sure that if you're offering a discount, that discount should be directly front and center and above the fold. In addition to that, once we move beyond just the hero image, you want to make sure that the content of your email clearly communicates that first impression that you're trying to get. So making sure that you have some body copy that really frames the brand, as well as making sure to highlight your best sellers or hero products is really important, because again, this is the first impression that you're giving. So you want to make sure that everything that you want to communicate to the customer is clear. Beyond just those pieces, it's also a good practice to sprinkle in some light social proof, whether that be customer testimonials, maybe showcasing where your product is featured, if it's been in any publications, or just any other major achievements that you want to make sure to highlight. In terms of how things have changed due to recent trends, some ideas for modern execution is to keep it a bit short and sweet so that it's scannable but also impactful. And also collecting data where you can. By using tags in dynamic buttons built in ESPs such as Klaviyo, you're able to collect information from the second the customer interacts with their email, which can be used later on for things like targeting via segmentation and just gathering more data to learn about who your audience really is. When it comes to the second email in your welcome flow, this is typically where you would introduce your brand story. You want to be able to build that emotional connection with the customer and also position your brand as one that is super credible. This is a great time to introduce the founder, the team. If those personas are prevalent faces behind the brand, introducing them here can humanize things a little bit and make customers feel like they can relate to you. However, when it comes to this second email with the brand story, things have definitely changed a bit. Previously, things were a little bit more lengthy, generic, and nowadays people don't really care about that as much. The question that you should be asking yourself is, what is unique or unexpected about your story? And how do you compare to competitors? And what sets you apart? If you can tell that story through a problem solved, a belief, or something that sets you apart, that is what's going to make this second email a lot more engaging than just a whole lengthy spiel that someone can go on and read in your About Us page. Another mistake that a lot of brands make is making this email super heavily designed, where it can really be an all text email that converts just as well. This example here is pure copy, and in reality, it generates a 3% click rate that is comparable with many heavily designed emails. Plus, it's really great to optimize your deliverability, and by making some simple adjustments like adjusting the sender name and the email signature, it still keeps things really personal. Now let's talk about the third email in your welcome flow, which is typically where social proof shines. In this third email, you really want to shift the focus away from the brand and towards the customer. This is a really great time to showcase not just your standard 5-star testimonial, but things that are more engaging, things that people can relate to, like user-generated content, real images, real videos, and real reviews. A couple things to stay away from here. Number one, those generic 5-star reviews that don't feel super personal. Number two, testimonials that don't match your target customer or relate to the pain points that they're trying to go after and ultimately have your brand solve. And number three, repetition. If you feature previous testimonials in emails 1 or 2, or are talking about the same sorts of pain points or subject matter, that's going to start to get stale really quickly, and people aren't going to be able to relate to that as much anymore. What consumers are looking for here is fresh content and real faces that verify that the brand is a trustworthy source that they can order from for the first time. And when everyone's inbox is crowded with the same sort of 5-star review format, seeing things like GIFs and real images by real consumers really make your brand stand out and can make all the difference in terms of conversions. Where most brands stop is that fourth email, where urgency really matters. A lot of the times you're reminding the customer to use their discount before it expires. But it's super important to not project a false sense of urgency when, let's say, your discount actually is valid for another year. You want to have that integrity because it's going to make a really big difference in how consumers trust you moving forward as they continue to develop a relationship with your brand. If all you're doing, though, is offering and pushing that urgency, it doesn't feel authentic. So pairing it with things like emotion-evoking copy, more reviews, testimonials, social proof, things that, clearly reflect what sets your brand apart from the competition is key here to add some variety to what can seem overwhelming when you're just telling someone that their discount is about to expire. Like I mentioned, 4 emails is where a lot of brands stop, but you definitely don't have to. Depending on how your engagement is looking, continuing to build out your welcome flow with things like tips, recipes, value adds, us versus them, additional testimonials, and social proof can be really helpful, especially if your product is one that maybe takes a little bit longer for a customer to get used to before they ultimately pull the trigger. Being able to educate based on interest or intent in your welcome flow is what's going to set you apart from your competitors and make sure that this flow is one that actually converts. Being able to split it by product interest, purchasing behavior, or any sort of intent will help you be able to personalize things a little bit further and take each customer down an individual journey that relates the most to them. The goal here to kind of finding that perfect number is relevance and not volume. More doesn't always mean more, but if you do it strategically, it can make a really big difference. Overall, a couple of key areas to experiment with, whether you're building a new welcome flow or optimizing it for the new year. Number 1, look at how all text emails compare to ones that are heavily designed. Again, a lot of the times you'd be shocked by how engagement still remains high and deliverability remains even higher. Number 2, make sure that things aren't too long. The reality is that people aren't scrolling all the way down to the bottom of an email the majority of the time. They really care about things that are short and sweet and gives them all the information they need above the fold. Number 3, utilize personalization whenever you can, addressing the recipient by their first name, using those dynamic buttons that tag their profile based off of where they're clicking and the things that they're interested in are really going to be key for making sure that you're able to develop a long-standing relationship with somebody who signs up for your brand. And number 4, find the balance between educational and promotional. Of course, it's the welcome flow. You want to be able to remind them of their discount and remind them to take advantage of that, but also educate where you can and provide value that so many customers are looking for. Overall, this 4 email flow structure still works, but how it's presented matters more than ever. Use this as your foundation, but don't be afraid to build it out further to collect more data, educate further, and keep things as personal as possible. Breaking this flow apart to make it more human, more relevant, and more flexible should be your goal in 2026 to maximize brand awareness and increase conversions.